Should a man be stoic? I don't know. Let's see what Google LM thinks.
All right, so have you ever noticed how stoic is like the relationship cure-all these days?
Yeah, it's like, just be more stoic, right?
Exactly, like that's all it takes.
And your relationship's problem solved.
Yeah, all sunshine and roses, magically.
But a listener sent us something that really got us thinking about this whole stoicism thing, especially when it comes to men, relationships, all of that.
It's an interesting perspective.
Really interesting and kind of a head scratcher. So we're diving deep into stoicism, relationships, the whole shebang. Not to give relationship advice or anything.
No relationship advice here.
We're just here to unpack this idea.
Right. Explore those assumptions we make, what it all actually means.
Exactly. So this excerpt we got, it basically says that having a stoic guy in a relationship can be like the best and the worst thing ever. Well, that's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it?
Right. It says, and I quote, this is directly from the excerpt, "It's good because it means that the woman has someone tough, able to deal with a whole section of things."
Okay, I see where they're going with this.
It continues. "Rather than another child,
Oh boy.
it's bad if it breaks the man."
Wow. Okay, so there's this expectation, right, that the stoic partner, often the man in a hetero relationship, is there to just handle everything.
Be the rock, emotionally unflappable.
Yeah, without adding to the emotional load themselves.
But then the excerpt throws in that breaking point idea.
Which is a valid concern, definitely.
Yeah, and here's where it gets even more interesting. The excerpt goes on about emotional sensitivity, saying it's also hard because shutting off feelings seems to be an all or nothing thing, which means being less sensitive to others' emotions.
Yeah, that's the thing about stoicism, right?
Right. So is that it? Is that the core of stoicism? Becoming emotionally numb?
I wouldn't say numb exactly.
Okay.
It's not about erasing your emotions, it's more about mastering them. Think about it this way. Instead of trying to make anger disappear completely, you learn to choose how you react to it.
So less about suppressing it, more about managing it.
Exactly. It's about developing those healthy coping mechanisms.
Okay, so less bottling it up, more healthy coping mechanisms.
Exactly.
But how does that actually work in a relationship?
Well, think about it this way. Imagine there's a crisis. A stoic approach might help you stay grounded and be there for your partner instead of, adding fuel to the fire.
Panicking right alongside them.
Yeah, exactly.
But, and I feel like there's a but coming,
But it's all about self-awareness. You can't just shut down completely.
you don't want to be emotionally checked out when your partner needs you the most.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
then you're not present, you're not really there for them.
And the excerpt actually touches on that too.
It does.
Yeah. It says, the kid is forever chasing the dad's approval, and the dad doesn't get to know the kid. Now, obviously, this is about a father-child relationship.
Right.
But don't you think that same lack of emotional connection could really hurt a romantic relationship too?
Absolutely. If
Yeah.
you're not careful, that emotional distance can creep in anywhere.
Yeah. So let's say someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, the stoicism thing, it sounds useful, but how do I actually use it in my relationships?
Yeah.
How would you answer that?
Well, first, I'd say it's not about being a robot, right? You're not aiming for zero emotions.
Yeah, no one wants to date a robot.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance. One of the core principles of Stoicism is focusing on what you can control. So in a disagreement with your partner, for example, you practice taking a step back. You focus on really listening to their perspective.
Instead of just waiting for your turn to talk.
Exactly. And you're listening not just to respond, but to truly understand where they're coming from.
That's tough, though, to actually put it into practice.
It takes practice, definitely. But over time, you can build up that ability to respond thoughtfully rather than just reacting.
And that can be so helpful in any relationship.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not limited to romantic relationships either.
Totally. Friendships, family, even in the workplace, right?
Exactly.
I'm thinking about that friend we all have, the one who's constantly caught in some sort of drama.
Oh, I know the type.
Right. And a stoic approach there doesn't mean you cut them off because their emotions are too much to handle.
No, not at all.
It's about setting healthy boundaries.
There you go.
So you can be a supportive friend without getting sucked into their emotional roller coaster every single time.
It's about finding that balance between being there for them and protecting your own emotional well-being.
Because, let's be real, we've all been guilty of getting caught up in someone else's drama. It happens.
It's part of being human. We're emotional creatures.
Exactly. So we've talked about the good and the potentially, well, emotionally constipated side of Stoicism.
Right.
But what does it all really mean for us? For all of us out here just trying to make our relationships work.
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It really is.
I think the takeaway here isn't to say Stoicism is some magical solution for every relationship problem.
It's not a magic pill.
Definitely not. But there is real value in those ancient principles.
So it's more about using those principles to become more aware of our emotions.
Exactly. It's about learning to navigate our own emotional landscapes so we can show up as our best selves in our relationships. That we can be present, supportive partners who aren't afraid of their own emotions.
And on that note, I think we've done our Stoic duty for today.
I think so too.
Remember, everyone, just because someone throws around the word Stoic doesn't mean they've achieved emotional enlightenment.
Words of wisdom, it's a journey, this whole relationship thing, but hopefully with a little help from the Stoics, we can all navigate it with, a little more wisdom, a little more compassion for ourselves and our partners.
That's what it's all about.